No problem.
So good evening, everyone. We are very happy to be here with you today. Today we are going to be having our Devant Cafe. I'm Sandra and I am a job developer and also a career coach for Devant and for another organization. And we also have Katerina, who is going to share her experience about some employment tips that you can use. And today we are expecting a very glad conversation where we can give you some tips and some ideas about how to get employed faster. Okay, so let's start with the presentation. We are going to let you know a little bit more about what we do. So Divan is an organization who is focused on helping students and graduates for employment services. So we try to support you to get hired in Canada. We have supported 25,000 job seekers across the country. And also we have 500 plus live expert career development events since 2019. So we started right before the pandemic, and since then we haven't stopped, and now we are approaching more than 500 events. Okay. Also, we work very closely with employers. So we have 30 plus employers who are actively looking for new graduates and also international students who are eager to get a job in Canada. So some housekeeping rules that we want to give you for today's session. This is an interactive workshop, so we are looking for your active participation, and we encourage you to use your microphone. In case you have any questions, you can also use the Q&A, but also please feel free to raise your hand and raise your voice and ask all the questions that you want to ask. Ask the questions in the comments again, or raise your hand and we will ask you to open your microphone. The third point I want to remark is that this session is going to be recorded and then is going to be shared with all of you. Also, we would like to share about our future sessions. Okay, so if you go to our website and go to the events tab, you will be able to see all the events that we have. Next one, please. Okay, so just to start the conversation and to warm up a little bit, we have some ideas and some questions that we would like to ask all of you. So if Katerina wants to start with that part, I will be answering all the questions also on the chat. You are on mute.
On mute. Yep, I just saw that. All right, perfect. So we can start with, if you want to tell us what are your wins or like challenges this week. Also, the next slide is if you just like have any general questions about job searching in Canada, feel free, like to type your question in the chat window, or if you want, just unmute your microphone and you can ask us. Today, it's all about answering your questions, giving you some tips, something that, like tips that will, and resources that will be helpful for you while you're job searching. So you can use these two questions. You can tell us about your wins this week, or if you had any challenges, maybe we'll talk about that. Or if you don't have anything to share about wins and challenges, just like ask us some questions about job searching. So we will monitor the chat window. Again, if you want. Oh, you don't see, okay, somebody says that they don't see the microphone icon on my Zoom. Maybe because this is a different type of webinar, maybe they're not allowed to, they won't be able to unmute.
Oh, because it's a webinar. Probably that's the reason why. So Juan, if you want to type your question, and this is for everyone. So if you have any questions, because we are using the webinar option today, you can probably write on the chat like now.
Actually, I can allow somebody to talk. So Juana will allow you to talk, I think. Let's try that.
Let's see.
Okay. So I will allow all of you to talk. And then, like that would be easier instead of just like typing everything in the chat. If you prefer to type in your chat window, you can do that as well. No need to like turn on your camera. So that's totally fine.
Oh, hello, excuse me. Oh, hello, excuse me. Yeah, I can talk now. The microphone icon appeared. So do I answer the first two questions that were indicated?
Yes, absolutely. I'm just gonna switch back. Perfect.
All right. So in my case this week, the wins of this week is despite being in Canada for two years already, I started to learn a little bit of French this week. So I think that's a good start in learning another language. And for number two, the challenges are, I'm job hunting currently. So I believe that's a challenge for a lot of us going right now. So those are my two statements.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing that. French, I think that's the right choice, especially French is the second language here in Canada. So it might open like a lot of doors for you. I've seen many job applications and job descriptions where they're looking for, like somebody who speaks English and French. So that's amazing. Keep going. That's pretty great. It's an amazing hobby and you're learning another language. As for your challenges, do you want to tell us a little bit more? Like what role are you looking for? Where do you apply? Just give us a little bit more details.
Yes. In terms of job applications, I've been going to career fairs from my university. I'm a graduate from alumni from George Brown College. And even though I graduated, keep going on to career fairs. I'm talking to people on LinkedIn by sending, messages on LinkedIn to alumni who are currently working in the field of area, which I'm trying to look for a banking area at the current moment, business finance. And I'm sending them messages to network, and I'm looking on LinkedIn, Indeed, and different websites currently. So that's my job search.
Amazing.
So I'd like to know more other ways to, interact with other people. And that's pretty much my current situation.
How long have you been job searching?
I graduated this April, and I've been searching different jobs. Mm-hmm. And I'm just waiting for, something to land. And at the current moment, just hopefully something lands, and I'm just sending resumes at the moment. So.
Okay. And when did you start? Like, I know that you said you graduated in April, but how long have you been job searching?
Oh, I've been searching since April.
Okay. And have you like received any response? Have you booked any interviews like in that time? Sorry, like from April until now.
Yeah, I actually have, I have gone to several interviews, but I was surprised that in Canada they do at least 2 to 3 interviews, and I get to the second point a lot, and they don't call me for the third one. So that's the part that kind of gets me a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit challenging.
Yeah.
Wow, sorry, Katerina.
No.
I just wanted to remind you something. So if you get the first interview, which is usually the pre-screening, just to make sure that you somehow meet all the criteria for the job, actually you are among a very small group of candidates. So the more you advance in the interviewing process, like getting to the second interview, means that you are actually doing the job as it should be done. So you are doing the right thing because you are now getting the first and the second interview. So I just encourage you not to feel disappointed on yourself, because if you are getting there, trust me, you are doing a great job. Also, if you are interested in the bank area, like in the bank field, sometimes, and also in this case, because you already have French, it's better to go for an entry-level position, even as a cashier, because you will have the chances to connect with people being inside of the organization. And the third thing I would like to mention is that there are some banks that are probably more open to hire a diverse type of employee, because they also have presence in other countries. So try to look for a bank who has presence in other countries, okay? Mm-hmm. Like I know particularly because I'm Hispanic, I know Scotiabank try to hire people from Hispanic background because they are able to communicate with other branches in other countries. So that's something you can try on, because any Canadian bank is going to be focused mainly inside the country. So try to look for something that has a relationship from outside of Canada, and that could be another tip.
If I may ask another question regarding this kind of interview, and I've been going around handing, physical copies of my how to say, resume to different, the head branches of the banks. And is that a good practice? Like,
Going to the branch in person and like handing resumes?
yes,
To be honest, I would say no, because now everything it's electronic, and whoever is going to get the resume, they will still need to send it to HR, to the head office, and you might not even give it to a manager, you might give it to an employee. That resume might get lost and never sent to the person that like is hiring and needs to receive your resume. So
Okay.
my advice is to just apply online, like going and bringing resumes. I don't think that it's going to be that successful, especially in the branches. Another thing that you need to know is really depends for what positions you're applying. Because if you're applying for a position that is in a head office, right? The branch has nothing to do with the positions at head office. That's something that not a lot of people don't know. And if you get let's say a job at the branch, it's really hard in the beginning to get a job then at the head office or like another department, because you will stay within that branch, and it like requires for you to stay for like at least like a couple of years for them to help you to move up, and so it really depends for what you're looking for. Okay, so to go back, no, I would say no to bringing resumes in person at the branch, and apply only online postings that you find on Indeed, LinkedIn. It's better to go and network on LinkedIn than to like bring resumes in person.
Okay.
That's the first thing. Second questions that I have for you, it's what are you applying for? What is the specific role that you're like looking for? Is it like business analyst, or is it like something in risk? Like, I know that you said something about analyst, but I'm not sure, like, what is the job title?
Well, I studied business finance in George Brown College, and I want to become a financial advisor.
Okay.
But at the current moment, everyone has to start from the bottom. So I just wanted to start getting from like a client service representative position, entry level position, and I want to start from there, and then slowly rise from that position until I become a financial advisor.
Okay, so then that's the right path, because I know people that started working as tellers at the bank, and then from there, the managers really like them. If they're like good employee, then like they get trained and they become like a financial advisor. That's kind of like the next step, right? If you want to go towards that. So you're right, definitely you should apply for like customer service, like roles, like like I know that I have like they're calling them a little bit like there's like a different job title that I'm not sure, but I know there's like a different job title for a teller. And then they also have like a role that it's called like customer service, where you will sit at the information center at the bank. Not every bank has this, but there you will interact with customers. And I know that right now they need people to work at the branch as tellers. So I think you have a really good chance, like to go and apply and get a job.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
All right.
Sandra, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I would like to add something. And I think, first thing, I agree that going to the branches is not necessarily the best way. However, you can start connecting with people in the branch close to your area, because at least they can give you an informational interview and letting you know if they are hiring or not at the moment. But mainly, I will recommend to look also not only for banks, but for other type of financial institution. So there are financial institutions that work mainly with investments, real estate. So they are also probably looking for people with that specific knowledge in finance. Okay, finance and business.
All right,
So
wonderful.
other kind of institutions.
All right, just writing this on paper so I don't forget. So
Exactly. And another thing about the interviews, I'm not sure like how you're preparing for it, right? But just remember, the first interview, it's mainly, like just asking general questions, more to get to know you. Second interview focuses more on behavior and scenario-based questions. So you need to practice that. You need to come up with things where like, tell me about a time when you like didn't agree with your manager. Tell me about a time when you had a conflict with a customer. Tell me about a time when a client was not satisfied with the service. So think about like those things, write things down. And this is is for everybody that is like on this call. You need to have like interview questions ready, like a lot of behavior and scenario based questions, because those questions like can be used in like different interviews, not just like in one interview. Come up with things that you like did in the past that just say like, okay, like I had this conflict with like a client where the client was not satisfied with the service, so I had to deal, and I was able, you know, like to solve the issue. That is actually a really good example that you can use like in different interviews. So that's also my advice. Make sure that you come up with a lot of like scenario based and behavioral questions, answers, so you would be able to answer those questions. But like that's how what they focus on. And another tip for everybody on this call, make sure that you save the job description. Okay, because once you apply for a role, if they close the job description might be gone, right? And you want to read the job description because it will help you to prepare for your interview. Highlight the keywords, you know, like if they say we're looking for somebody that is innovative, guess what? They're going to ask you a question about like an innovation that you kind of like maybe made it work, right? So just like make sure that you follow that. If they say we need somebody that will like build great relationship with the clients, they're going to ask you questions like, tell me about a time when, you know, like you helped client, tell me about a time when you like problem solve something with the client. So just like think about that. This is for everybody. It's very important, you know, like to have some answers prepared, because you can practice at home, and then when you go in and you do the interview, then you won't be scared. You already will have something, you know, like to tell them when they ask you. So that's like a tip for like for everybody, especially if you're like doing interviews. I'm going to give access now to
like mine. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you very much. So this is Sahar. So first I want to talk about his situation since I'm working at a bank. I am actually I'm working as client advisor in client advisor position, which is basically the teller. But with different bank, it is different position and is different actual responsibility. So I have a suggestion for him, since he has a degree in a university. I guess he studied. I didn't hear like which university he studied, but I guess he has a degree, so he can apply for banking advisor, George Brown College. Yes. So my suggestion is to apply for banking advisor position, which is one step before financial advisor. You can take an exam like FX exam. And if you take that, it's going to be very faster like path for you to get job in financial advisor. So with teller or client advisor is kind of, in my opinion, for you, you might it might take lots of time for you to get to financial advisor position. This is my experience with banking, since after my graduation from university, someone told me just start from banking, and that's a good experience, that's a good start. But I regret that, why I didn't took that exam and start from a higher position. So I highly recommend to start from there instead of doing jobs as teller, because you have the degree, right? So that's my experience. But in my situation, okay, I got a master's degree in engineering, innovation, and entrepreneurship from Ryerson University. And I have a background in engineering, and I'm looking for a job as user research. But since I don't have any experience, job experience in Canada, so it was really challenging for me to find a job. Started from banking, and now it's actually 1 year and around 1 year, I think. Yeah, so I don't know how to start a job in the field that I've studied actually for, because I don't have that much experience working in it. So I find it challenging to get an interview, even going to the first like getting the first interview. So I have question around that, if you can help me to how I can start getting a job as a user researcher.
So my first question is like the bank that where you work right now, do they have this type of roles, or you have to go like and look like in a completely different company?
I work at RBC Bank, but the thing is, with those fields, it's completely a different department. Like it's a tech department. Um, if um, if you know UI UX is close to user research, so I found UI UX position, but I couldn't find any position as user research in our bank. But I know there are some similar thing in TD Bank or other institutions. But I sent my resume. I didn't get any answer, and it's like 1 year in 3 months that I stuck with being like teller in a bank, and I couldn't move from there.
Mm-hmm. I have like experience in this. I was working with somebody like previously that was kind of like in a similar situation. She started as a teller part-time, then she like after graduation moved into a full-time. Then from there, like they trained her to be a financial advisor. She was like an amazing employee. Because and then they moved her as a financial advisor, but she didn't have time to do the whole training because they were like short staff at the front line. And I feel like they don't like move up so fast because they're short staff and they need people like to cover the branch. However, like she built really good relationship with her managers. She told the managers that like the financial advisor role is very stressful for her. She's not happy. And then eventually, like she's going to quit and start looking for something else if there are like not changes. So she started like talking to the manager. She kind of like you all have like internal access to all of the job postings, which is amazing. Like even some postings that are not even posted externally. So like the manager said, like look through like the job postings. If you find something that like really interested you, just let me know, apply, and then I will send an email to the hiring manager. So that would be like my first advice. If there is something at the bank that you think that will be like a good role for you to start like into this field that you want to start your career, then try and see if you can, like talk to the manager, explain to them, like what is your career goal, where you want to go, and ask if they can help, if they can be like reference. Because the manager for like my client just said, like just like explain how good employee like she is, like just like gave a really nice reference and email and then like one job didn't work, the other job didn't work, but now she's like in a different role, in a role that she really enjoys. So that would be like my first advice, okay? Like if you want to like stay within RBC, because they have like good compensation. There's like some other perks in there that not a lot of other companies have. And you already know like the field, right? You already know the sector. Second, if you feel that you're not getting roles because you don't have experience, I would try and see if you can find a volunteer role, or like see if you can find an unpaid co-op or internship. I know that with co-op and internships might be a little bit hard because a lot of them are for credit and they will give priority to students that they need that credit to graduate, but some are just posting because they need like a person to help them, and that's how you can gain the experience and you can put that on your resume. Even if it's a volunteer position or like an unpaid internship or co-op, you don't have to mention that in the resume. You just put the job title that they will give you and then explain all of your roles and responsibilities. Okay, they don't need to know if this role was paid or unpaid. You already gain experience. That's like my advice, like to do something that will like give you some experience that you can put on the resume. And the third thing, and I think probably you're doing this, if there's some like courses that are like for free, or even if you have to pay something that will kind of like give you a little bit more knowledge in that field, like try to do that as well. So that will help you, like, and you can add that on your resume. You can say, hey, like I took a course and I know how to use this tool that is like needed, like in this role. So those are like some of the things, like some of the advice that I have. Sandra, do you have anything to add?
Yes, since you went to school for something related in what you want to become, I also encourage you to connect with your professors, mainly because you want to know what are, like Katerina said, other certifications or other assets that you can gain but mainly because they will likely to know companies that are looking to hire new graduates. Because as a UX experience, you probably will be seen as a new graduate, regardless of your previous experience. So it's better to start connecting with your professors, okay? Just to know what are the companies that are usually more open to hire new graduates, but also to know what are those extra trainings or those extra certifications. And the last thing, before I give the word to Bupati, is also try to create like a portfolio, because in that field, if you have a portfolio about some work that you have done during your master program, that will help you to demonstrate that even if you don't have like real working experience, you know how to develop the task. Okay, so start searching for those assessments or those projects that you did during your master that were very successful. Start creating a new portfolio that can demonstrate what you know about the user experience role. Okay, we also have a question from Bupati. Let me just align.
Have a follow-up question, if you don't mind.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So actually both were good suggestions for me regarding the finding volunteer jobs. I looked at Indeed and I applied for some, but I'm looking. Do you have any suggestion that where should I look for volunteer jobs?
Yep, you can try Charity Village,
Exactly.
Volunteer Match. There was another one. Oh my goodness. I volunteered for Save the Water, and usually they have some like IT roles. Check with Save the Water, completely remote. They're like really amazing. They also can give you like a reference after 6 months, I think. So like check them and see. They have some like some roles similar to what you're looking for. And then UN volunteers. That's another one. UN volunteers. And I think I have one more, but there's one more, but I can't think of it. But I think those are like really good ones, like Volunteer Match, Charity Village, UN Volunteer, Save the Water. Check, they post on the website, see, like what is out there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your help.
No worries. Somebody else raised their hand.
Bupati.
Okay, Bupati, go ahead. Do you have a question?
Oh, nothing. Sorry, it was just raised. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So this is like, I think we had like a really great discussions. Like anybody else, any other questions? Doesn't have to be about wins and challenges like that you experienced this week. Let's talk about, like job search, resume, interviews, like LinkedIn. Today, like I really enjoy these career cafes with Devant because we can talk about anything, like it's not like like script, we don't have like workshops just about LinkedIn, or about resume. Like we can talk about anything, like job related. So like go ahead, or even if it's not job related, if it's something else, like just let us know if we can.
Because Juan has another question, I just want to add something to that. I recently discovered that since the pandemic is officially over, so many meetups and so many in-person networking events are coming up even during the winter. So I know the weather can be challenging, but still, we are still enjoying a nice warm weather considering the time of the year. So I highly encourage you to attend to those networking events. They are usually also a good way to have an active social life, not only for professional purposes, but also to feel like we can go outside again and have some fun. So I have noticed on LinkedIn that there are so many just in these coming 2 weeks, like a way to celebrate before Christmas. So try to check on those, try to attend at least 1 or 2 before the end of the year, because this is the time to get the more connections that you can create, because next year once the winter is over, the labor market, will start all over again. So we are hoping that February, everything will be moving around and there are supposed to be more employment opportunities starting in February.
Amazing. Yeah, no, that is really great advice. Just to add that Meetup, that is like a really good like online app that you can download, and you can try to find people that they have like same hobbies as you, or there are like a lot of professional groups there that you can join, and you can make friends, right? Also, you can make connections, you can network, you know, like something to try. I know that like a lot of people use, and they're like big groups and they do different things. So you never know who you can meet and help, you know, like
Absolutely.
find your next job.
Okay, Juan, you raise your hand, so you can please feel free to ask your question.
Oh, hello, it's me again. In this case, it's about resume building. So technically, I've built several types of different resumes. I've made simple resumes, including, not sentences, but, dots, like points,
Bullet
indicators.
points? Okay.
Yeah, bullet points. Resumes indicating with numerical order, because I've had several professors in George Brown who are teaching me different formats of how to build my resume, and I was just curious to like which one is like the most appropriate one, because some says use bullet points and some tells us like not to put too much on one page. Some say to use numerical figures. Some say not to use numerical figures, and different comments. So I'm hearing from different professors, and they're all saying different ways of building the resume. So I was kind of curious to how you two would build resumes in this current day and age.
That is an amazing question. And Sandra, I can start, and then you can add. So I'm an HR manager, right? And I can tell you that as long as the resume looks good, you know, like when you send it, that is totally fine. I honestly don't care if there are bullet points. I don't care if you just like want to write like a small blurb. You know, like I don't care if your education is at the bottom of the page or in the end of the page. I'll just scroll, I'll find what I need to find. Another thing that like everybody needs to know, it's like as hiring managers, recruiters, we spend at least like 10 to 15 seconds, somebody even less, when you receive like so many resumes, and we all look for keywords. Like nobody will spend 20 minutes to go and read your resume, especially during, like the screening process. Once, like maybe you move into the next stage, the managers that are going to interview, and like also me, like as a manager that attends those interviews, I go then like and like read more, like I get more details in the resume. So my point is like, make sure that your resume is ATS friendly first. So the applicant tracking system, that's something that might be the issue why you're not getting calls, why you're not getting, like interviews. So make sure that it's like ATS friendly. You can Google, you can find some resources on the Devant's page. I know that we have a workshop coming up next week about that, so feel free to attend. But there shouldn't be any tables, there shouldn't be any kind of like boxes, because that's what causes the ATS to reject your resume. There will be like more like tips. So you can do your own research, you can attend the workshop. So that's number one. Make sure that like it's ATS friendly. Number two is just to, like I said before, make sure that your resume, it's professional, like just like it's the formatting is good, looks presentable. That's all. Like we received resumes that they're like all of the information, it's all over the place. Like you have a hard time to find what you need. So you need to make sure that you have your information, like that, a little bit of a summary. Then you can add your skills, then you can add your experience, then you can add your education. If you are a new grad, put education on top. If you already like have experience, you want to change your career, like education should go at the bottom. And then number three, make sure that your resume, it's 2 pages. Can be 1 page, but 1 page might be a little bit crowded. There might be like a lot of information. 2 pages only. Nobody's going to read if it's more. One time I received like 7-page resume, and I just like scroll through like the job description, like the job titles and education to see if it's a good fit. But I can tell you, I know that this might sound like I don't know, like mean, but nobody's going to read a 7-page resume. So those are the things that you should focus. And then one last thing, make sure that you put accomplishment statements and not just responsible for managing, I don't know, portfolio of 20 clients. You can just say successfully manage a portfolio of 20 clients with 90% like succession rate, you know, like, or like come up with like, talk a little bit about like numbers, what do you have accomplished in this role? Don't put whatever is in the job description. And I can tell you, if you send your resume now, like to myself and Sandra, both of us will have like different opinions. And then, but it doesn't matter that like the opinion is wrong. Like, it's just, you know, like people have like different opinions about resume. But the good thing is that recruiters and hiring managers, they really like don't worry that much about, you know, like if you have bullet points or if you just like have a small paragraph, as long as you present your information in a professional way and it's visible, like the eye can catch the keywords. So that is my advice. Sandra.
Okay, thank you, Katerina. So yeah, again, I think about the resume format, there are so many opinions that you are going to find. There is actually a little trick that I would like to give you is there are two main types of resumes here in Canada. One is considered the chronological resume. The other one is considered the functional resume. So chronological resumes are adequate for someone with a long experience, basically in the same field. So let's suppose that you were working for 10 years as a business analyst. So in that case, all your jobs are going to be related to a business analyst role. You can go for the chronological one. And also, if you don't have any big gaps, like you haven't stopped working for a while, or even if you did, there is a very strong technical reason why, like I was studying something related to that field, okay? But if that is not the case, my recommendation is go for a functional resume. So that is the type of resume that is mostly focused on your skills, okay? So you can omit certain gaps in a creative way. And that is why everyone is giving you a different advice, because there is not only one kind of resume. And also the same resume, of course, is not going to be good for all the positions, okay? So you need to consider the position, like the job description, your own experience, and how, in terms of percentage, how big fit you are for that position. Like if you are 100% a good fit for the role, you can use like a chronological one. But if you want to close some gaps and you want to demonstrate that you can do the job, even though you don't have the specific experience, maybe you can try the functional resume, okay? And again, next week, we are having a session about how to be the ATS, which is quite difficult sometimes, but if you can bear with that and know all the tricks that are inside the algorithm, we can work with that, okay? And lastly, I will recommend for the new graduates to go no over one page, because I know we tend to put all the information because we consider that everything is important. How can I skip this part? Just focus on all the main issues that you have accomplished related to that specific job, okay? Not other things that you have done, especially if you have a lot of experience. We have
Perfect. Thank you,
another
Sandra.
couple of questions here, okay?
Okay. I just first I just want to say that I answered a question about the ATS resume checkers. I know the job scan is like popular and it's free, so you can like check your resume on job scan, but like something that I say to everybody, don't trust job scan 100%. If it says that your resume only scored like 40% and they say like pay for like this like paid version, you know, like and you can get like more features, honestly don't do it. Usually, you know, like see what they sometimes highlight and then use that to, you know, like for keywords or like for other stuff. So it's nice to like, it's good to have this up and you can use it, but do not like rely on that 100%. Okay. So that's something I just wanted to share about job scan, but it's a really good platform. I used that when I was job searching. It really helped me. So I was like making like some changes.
Okay, we also have a question about on the chronological resume, which one goes first? So you certainly want the recruiter to check your latest experience. So go from the newest to the oldest experience, okay? Okay.
Yes, always the most recent experience. That's the most important, because if your first job was in 2016 or 2017, those skills like might not even be like relevant right now, because every year there are new trends, new changes. So you want to present your most recent experience. Any other questions?
There is something, if we don't have more questions on the chat, there is something I would like to address, and is the cover letter that usually goes with the resume. So I'm not sure about your opinion, Katerina, but in my own personal opinion, I say go with the job description. So nowadays, many recruiters are saying no to the job letter because it's a lot of work and they are getting between 100, 200 resumes, so they don't basically have the time physically to go over the cover letter, but some job postings are still asking for the cover letter. So I always encourage everyone to really take a good look at the job description, because we can tend to go for the title, say, hey, this is what I want to do, and just apply without reading all the details. So I don't know about your opinion about the cover letter.
To be honest, if somebody has a good resume, I personally, as an HR manager, I don't need the cover letter, because I can get like what usually they can share like that in the resume, and then during the interview they can also present themselves. But yes, some companies, college always says that. Like, yeah, I saw like Juan's comment. College always says that like cover letters are crucial, and then because of the cover letter, they will make a decision. Believe me, that is not true. You can write the best cover letter, but if you're like don't have the skills for the job, you're not going to be hired. So like the bottom line is that you need to have at least a little bit of experience, or like show like some transferable skills, that so you can get that like interview, can have a conversation. However, like Sandra said, some jobs still ask for cover letter. So make sure that you have one prepared, and absolutely like use, I agree, like use the job description, see what they're looking for. Like if you have those skills that are listed on the job description, use those skills, those words to write the cover letter for sure. But I'm gonna be very honest, I don't personally think that cover letter are crucial, and they're crucial, and then I don't think that even companies that they ask for cover letter, they're not reading all of the cover letter. They might read the cover letter of the top 3 candidates, and then maybe that will help like to make the decision, but not in the first round. That's my opinion.
I have to agree on that. You know, as part of my job, I basically talk to employers, at least 3 to 5 employers every single day. And I will have to say that none of those employers, especially in the technological field, are asking for cover letters. I basically ask, do you need the cover letter for my participants, for my clients? They always say no. Only, like you say, if they are really interested in someone, they might ask for a cover letter, but it's mostly to have an introduction. That's why it's so important to do a good networking, because in that case, that person who is connecting you with the hiring manager is going to be your walking cover letter, okay? So let's suppose that I'm looking for a job in Katerina's company, and she introduced me to the hiring manager. She will say, hey, I know Sandra, she does this, she does that. And that is basically your best approach, and it's going to replace any kind of cover letter. When you are recommended by someone for any specific job because they know you and they know your experience, you might even skip the resume part in terms of being screened by the resume, and the resume is going to be used in probably the second interview. So be careful about that, because cover letters are also nowadays giving the impression that you are kind of old-fashioned in terms of the job search process, okay? So make sure that you use the cover letter basically because it's asked on the job description. That is my recommendation personally.
Yeah, no, I agree. If they don't ask you for cover letter, please don't send that. So only send if you if they ask for it, if there's like an option, you know, like to upload it. If they say cover letter optional, if you have one, I would upload it still. Because, you know, like that's where you might stand out. Maybe like not a lot of people will like upload because it's optional. That's where you might stand out. Like that's where like, but if it doesn't ask, do not like upload a cover letter. And then referral, like Sandra said, I think that's the best way. That's why like networking is important. If somebody can vouch for you and say, hey, like I know this person, we work together, really great, or I met this person at like networking event, like they were like lovely, great personality. Because a lot of time, like when we hire, we want somebody that has like personality that will match the team, right? Because somebody can be really good in their skills, and not a lot of people might like agree with me on this, but somebody might be really good at their job, but if they don't have a good personality, like if they just like disrupt the team, if they cause problems all the time, for me that's not a good hire, because that like disrupts the whole company culture, and that will cause us a lot of problems down the line. So like that's why it's so important, like networking and referrals, because people can say, hey, great person, great personality, will be a really good fit for the team. I know a lot of recruiters and a lot of like job seekers, there's like, what is that, like not a good fit? That's what it means. Like when they say cultural fit, probably means like personality or like how like they approach things will not match with the team, and they already have like a group of good hires, and they don't want to like disrupt that like amazing dynamic that they bring, you know, like in what they do for the company. So I know a lot, like some people will be like, well, no, I don't agree, but like that is something that I've seen, and it is important. Do we have any questions?
We also have another question from Bupati. It says, is there any website to find our industry career path or how to explore it?
Okay, so career path. So if you're in school, I would recommend to go and talk to your career advisor. Every school, every program has a career advisor, so I would recommend to do that. Another thing that you can do, there are a lot of non-for-profit organizations. Sandra is job developer, right? You can go and see if you're eligible to go like and talk to, you know, like a job developer or like a career consultant. Like they have a lot of resources for free. The immigration centers as well. See if you can like maybe like talk to somebody there that can help you and they can build like the career path for you. Another option is Sandra and myself are coaches for Devant. You can go and see, you can, you know, like schedule a session with us, and we would be able to build that, you know, like to talk about that, like build you know, like career path and like where you want to go. So there are like a lot of options that you can try. Also do a little bit of a research. There are a lot of things on Google, and see, you know, like if you can find something that might benefit you.
What I have found is that for technical roles, you can find the career path somehow because it is a licensed process. So let's suppose that you are becoming an engineer in Canada, then you know all the steps, okay? Which is basically to get licensed, not necessarily to get employed. So as far as I have been knowing for other fields, the only way is having someone to let you know about their own experience, because I have been searching for a very standardized process that tell you do this step 1, step 2, and honestly it is so different for everyone that you definitely need like personalized advisement on that. Okay, where can we find the network program? Can you clarify your question, Juan? Because he's asking where can we find the network program?
Oh yeah. So technically, I was as you two have mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, you guys mentioned about, you know, additional networking programs where you can go outside Canada. Like, remember when you guys said like it's gonna snow, like the weather's gonna be challenging?
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that is the Meetup, which is basically an app. And the events I mentioned are usually published mainly on LinkedIn. Let's suppose that nowadays, I'm not sure about your last name, but because of your name, I think you are probably from Brazil.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So there is, like, for example, there is an organization that is focused on Latinos and Hispanic population, and they are called Hispanotech. So they usually have a meeting, which is now in person, once a month, okay? And usually it's a very good way to connect with people from different industries. So let's suppose that you start following that organization, Hispanotech. I am part of it. And then you see that someone from the organization is posting, hey, we have our networking meeting next week, and it's going to be in this place at this time, etc. But usually you will find that on LinkedIn. So it's important to be very active in terms of networking, because that's also how you know about those events.
Okay, wonderful. All right, thank you.
No problem.
We have 8 minutes left. Any questions? I know that we covered like a lot. One thing that I wanted to add, I know that we talked about resume. So I'm not sure if you have mentioned today master resumes. I learned about master resumes 5 years ago, and I don't know why, but like I really like them, especially if you have a lot of experience and if you work like in different roles. A master resume, it's something that you don't send to the employer, you don't send it anywhere. It's something, a document that you have where you add all of your experience, all of your accomplishments, all of your skills, everything that you have done throughout your career. And usually when you have to build that tailored resume that I called for like a particular job description, the master resume can help you because you can scroll and you can see what you have on there, and you can kind of like copy and paste or like add some skills to your tailored resume. The master resume can be 20, 30, 50 pages long, you know, because you don't send this anywhere. You don't have to worry about the format. This is just for you. So you have all of your skills and experience in one place. And then when you read the job description, when you highlight all of those keywords, and when you have to create that tailored resume, you can go back to the master resume. If they're looking, for example, I don't know, customer service, you can put those skills like in your resume if you had like a customer service role like 3 years ago or like 4 years ago, and that is not on your like resume. So you can add that role in there because it's important. A lot of times like we forget the things that we did like, you know, like in few that we did like a long time ago. So that's why it's important to have that master resume. Also, if you're like having a job right now, every time that you learn something new or every time that you did something that was like pretty good, make sure that you like add that to your master resume, because we forget about things sometimes. We forget about like some projects that were like we were really successful or like we accomplished something. So make sure that like every like a month or two you update your resume, and it will take you like probably like 2-3 minutes, you know, because there are like a few things that probably you have to add, but like add those things so you don't forget. Maybe there's like a skill that you learn, or maybe something that you did that like your next job will ask for that. So like have something, if like you don't have to have a master resume, but I always want to share this because I didn't realize how good it was until like I created mine, and now I have like everything in one place, and I don't have to go through like old resumes to see, oh yes, I have that role and I didn't post this role, like I didn't put this role in my current resume, so what did I do there? So you will have everything in one place.
We also have a question from someone who didn't put the name. It's regarding someone who is finishing their program in April next year. So when is the best time for start applying for jobs?
Ooh, that is a really good question. So April 2024. So probably because you will be in school, full-time job would not be an option for you, you know, because like if you're doing in school, like if you're like still having, you know, like classes. But I would apply like probably like a month before graduation. So if you're graduating April 2024, I will start looking for jobs in March. Because if you start applying right now, what if for some jobs you have to, like, there's no way that they're going to recruit somebody for like April or May, right? All of those roles will be like January, December, January. So like, and you won't be graduate, like you won't graduate yet. So you won't be able to go like and you know, like get that full-time job. So March is the perfect time because you will be graduating in April. And then, you know, like if you get a good interview and if you get a role, you can start like in May. So yeah, I think March is a really good time. Even if you want to focus on your exams and you're like, I can apply in March, even if you can start after your exams in April, that it's fine too. But if you want to make sure that you have a job like after graduation, you start right away, March, I think it's a good time.
We have another question. What can be the good opportunity after completing supply chain management postgraduate? So
supply chain management.
supply chain management postgraduate.
Mm-hmm. Good opportunity after. Okay, so
I think Harry means the role, like the type of position that they can start applying. Is that the question, Harry? Yeah, but I think they are referring to what will be a good role to start after completing the supply chain management postgraduate program.
okay. So
Yeah,
they
that's the
are.
reason.
Oh, sorry. Did I interrupt you? Sorry.
No, they say
Okay.
yes. Harry
Oh.
say yes.
Okay. So what I would do is there are like some entry-level supply chain management roles. So I would look for those. Or like see if there are like other jobs, you know, like the job titles sometimes now they're changing the job titles. Like the HR roles now they call them people and culture, you know, like or like I don't know, like different type of manager. But it's like the core is just like HR doing HR tasks. So same thing about this. Like I would target like supply chain management, like entry-level roles, like something that you can get after like graduating, or see if there are like other like job titles similar to what you've done, and then you can apply to those too. But like I think because this is kind of like very specific, that's where I would start, like looking for supply chain like management entry-level roles.
And something I would like to add is that hopefully it will happen in many other job searching platforms. But for now, when you go on LinkedIn and you look for jobs in the company that you are probably interested in joining, they also have the option for selecting the type of job, and it says entry level, medium position, or senior position, which is actually a good thing. So you can start by searching the companies that are in the logistic field, then look for the job title or something related, like 2 words, and then look for entry-level position and start applying to those jobs.
Awesome. Okay, so like we're getting close to the end. We have 1 more minute. I can just like tell you about the events, the coming up events with Devant. So next week on November 22nd, we have an immigration Q&A. This is a really good session. Absolutely go and sign up if you have any questions, you know, like the immigration consultant can like answer those. And then we have a session on November 29th, and I think Sandra and I are hosting this as well. So it's decoding the applicant tracking system. We're going to talk about ATS. We're going to talk about the things that ATA does to the resume, how, you know, like to learn those tricks so your resume will pass the ATS system. And then on December 6th, we have an expert panel, like careers in tech. If you're in the tech industry, I think this will be like an amazing workshop for you, session for you to attend. And then on December 13th, we have another workshop called Finding a Job in Canada. So we'll talk a lot, we'll cover like a lot of things that we probably will cover today. So all of these sessions are free. Go to the Devant website and register. And also there's like a promo. If you want to book one-on-one session with myself or Sandra, you can go on the Devant website and you can do so. There's for 1 hour now they have the promotion for 1 hour for $95. And then we have the resume writing service. You can also find it on the Devant website. Another promo here too is a really good deal. So if you need help with, like, if you want to book one-on-one coaching or just need help with your resume, check the Devant website. There are like a lot of services there. Okay, so we have 1 more question. We're going to answer that. How is the best way to write the points of job experience? Is it okay to only write the responsibilities, or achievements should be there in each bullet point? So we talk a little bit about this during the session. It's important to put accomplishment statements. And it's better to do that rather than just like putting the responsibilities. I know a lot of recruiters said if they see responsible for in resumes, they're not going to continue read. There's like a post on LinkedIn about that. They really don't like the word responsible for. So please, when you create your resume, when you build, like when you talk about your experience, create bullet points that will talk about your accomplishments. You can find those like verbs online where you can say successful at, accomplished, like improved, implemented. So use those type of active verbs that can kind of like showcase the things that you did and at the company.
Also, anything that saves money to any company will be highly appreciated. So if you can showcase that you save, I don't know, 20% of the processing value on a X or Y process, that will be amazing. And the last thing is, please don't forget to put between 3 and maximum 5 bullet points. So for each job description, please try not to showcase everything you have done since day one. Mainly focus on the 3 main achievements if you have a lot of experience. But if you don't have a lot of jobs, you can go up to 5, but no more than that, definitely.
That's amazing. That is like an amazing advice, because if it's like more than 5, nobody's gonna read like those like bullet points. Okay, amazing. It's 8:08. Thank you all for joining us today. Like, we had an amazing discussion. I really hope that this was helpful, that you can like apply these tools when you start looking for jobs. And we will have more sessions coming up like this month. So if you want, like, you can feel free to like sign up for those sessions. Good luck with your job search, and have a good night.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and for those amazing questions. We look forward to seeing you again in the next cafe, but also in the coming webinars that we have every Wednesday. Thank you, everyone.